everyone, welcome to This Day. It is Saturday, October 19th. I'm Michael Taylor, and you know it's Saturday. You know it's the end of the week. I take my day of rest on Saturday because I get to sit here at the desk instead of stand up with you. And we got a special show for you today. We got 3 special guests on today's show. Usually we do 2, but we're giving you 3 at no extra charge to you, the viewer. So hopefully you enjoy that discount we're giving you there. We have 47th candidate for the congressional district, Scott Baugh, is going to be on our program. Then we're going to be talking to the old pros, Carol Glenn and David Deering, about their upcoming show, Shakespeare's Women. That's going to be a fun one. And also then later in the program, Newport Beach Film Festival folks are going to be here talking about their movie, one of the featured films at this year's Newport Beach Film Festival. All right, right now we want to talk about our Stay Informed segment. It's an important one. It is folks who are getting scam calls right here in the village about their bank accounts being frozen, or there's a problem with your bank account, telling you they need all this information from you, your social security number, your PIN number, all of these things. It's a scam. Do not listen to this person, hang up on this person. They are the ones trying to scam you, and they're the ones trying to get into your bank account. They are very convincing. They make it sound very urgent. They tell you not to hang up, don't call your bank, don't do anything. We need to do this now. They have all these tactics to keep you on the phone. Just hang up, call the bank, make sure everything's okay, and it will be. I guarantee you that. If you want to report these guys, Orange County Sheriff Department non-emergency number, you can call 228-6742. Of course, that's the 714 area code for that. All right, let's take a quick check at our weather, a little more pleasing topic, weather, not bank scams. We got some nice temperatures for the weekend, 73 today, 76, a little warmer and beautiful tomorrow, and a kind of a repeat on Monday too, 76 again with overnight lows, really nice and cool. So we got the great fall temperatures and overnight cool low temperatures, so great fall weekend ahead for us, so hope you enjoy that. All right, let's take a look at our sunrise and our sunset. And Bree Cox Kennedy, BCK as we call her around here, sent us this picture, and she left it behind for us. And she took this one in Singapore. Those beautiful buildings in Singapore. If I ever visit, I want to go up there. Those top floors are all connected. It's like a big garden park up there, so I definitely want to visit that building someday. Sunrise this morning was 6:59. Sunset tonight is going to be 6:11. If you have a beautiful picture from one of your travels from around the world, or right here locally in Southern California, or right here in the village, we'd love to see beautiful shots all the time. Go ahead and email us, lagunawoodsvillagetv@gmail.com. Make sure you include your name, where you took the picture, and we will put it in our sunrise sunset segment. All right, when we come back, 47th District candidate Scott Baugh is going to be joining Bree. Stay with us.
Running for California's 47th Congressional District, we welcome Scott Baugh to the show. Hello.
Good to be with you, Bree.
Thank you for coming in today.
Yes.
Lovely to have you. Scott, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, I'm a longtime resident of Orange County, 35 years. I have a wife and son here, and I've been involved in politics a long time, and I was out for 20 years, and now I'm running again.
Now you're back.
And because we have some issues in our community need to be taken care of.
Of course, yeah. What can you give us just a general idea of what those issues are that come to mind?
When we walk precincts, there's generally 3 issues that the voters bring up to us: the increasing crime in our neighborhoods, the open border, and the concern about the fentanyl coming across the border, and sex trafficking.
That's a huge concern, isn't it?
And then the terrorism, and that's also a concern because we've had a lot of gotaways get through here. And then inflation and the economy is another big issue.
So generally, there's a lot of things that need to be ironed out.
Yeah, exactly. But they're easy to fix, and you just take some political will. Like, we could fix the border real quick. I mean, we're a generous country.
We've done it before.
Yes, we've done it before. And so we allow a lot of legal immigration, and that's what we should do. But we should cut off the illegal immigration.
Okay. So why are you running for office again?
Well, because we have a situation in this country, if we don't turn it around, we're going to get in really deep trouble with these open borders and with our debt at $35 trillion and crime coming into all of our neighborhoods. You know, this used to be a very safe community. We had a murder at Fashion Island. We had a shooting
I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, we had a shooting at South Coast Plaza, another shooting at Fashion Island. These are safe places in Orange County that were the safest place in the world or in the United States, safest large cities in the United States, right here in this district. And now there's gunfire, there's robberies, there's smash and grabs, and we have to stop that.
And have you noticed an increase in those activities since the border's just been open?
Well, it's a combination of two things. It's the open borders and it's the soft on crime policies of my opponent, Dave Min, supporting Prop 47 that reduced all the penalties for these smash and grabs. And so when you give a green light to the criminals to say, it's okay to do this, we're not really going to prosecute it, they just do more of it. And that's what we see. And then they get more aggressive with it. And that's why we're starting to see shootings along with it.
I understand. Wow. So how would California's 47th congressional district benefit from your successful election?
Well, we're going to make sure we secure the border. We're going to stop the flow of fentanyl that's killing our kids. You know, we have over 100,000 deaths a year from drug overdoses led by fentanyl poisoning. My brother died from fentanyl, and so this is a serious matter that's tearing hundreds of thousands of families apart. So we need to secure the border, first of all. We need to toughen our enforcement of our criminal statutes, and we need to get our debt under control.
Absolutely. Very, very important things. So any last thoughts before we let you go?
Well, the direction of the free world is really at stake here, and control of Congress hangs in the balance right through this district here. We want to make sure that we have an agenda that is tough on crime and secures our border and gets our spending under control, and that's what my campaign stands for.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, we wish you the best of luck in your
Thank you,
campaign. Thank you so much for joining us today, Scott.
Thank you.
Really
Good to be
appreciate you
with
coming in.
Okay. Bye-bye.
You're watching ThisDay on Village Television. We'll be right back.
Hi there, I'm Bob Eubanks. Remember me? I'm the king of whoopee. And you're watching Village Television. But everybody does.
And welcome back to the program. Well, who's ready for a little Shakespeare in the Village? Not in the park, but in the village, right? The old pros are here. We want to welcome David Deering and Carol Glenn to our program. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Now, you guys are doing a Shakespeare's Women is the topic of the upcoming thing. Now, what gave you guys the idea? Why is it important to talk about these things?
Oh. When is it not important to talk about
question.
Shakespeare? Well, we're very fortunate. We do Shakespeare on a regular basis, try to do at least once a year. Mm-hmm. Dr. Julia Lupton was not available when we did a presentation of many of Shakespeare's women earlier, but she is now, and I've seen her do a presentation, and it's just such a delight. And we have a lovely, lovely lady who will bring to life these characters that Julia will be telling us about.
So it's going to be a little bit of a lecture and a little bit of performance?
Oh, a lot of performance.
Okay. 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 And so is it scripted, or is it going to be a little bit of Q&A, or is it going to be a little bit of both?
It will be all of the above.
Okay. Okay. So it's really kind of and Shakespeare certainly took a lot of time to develop female characters. They're not just throwaway girlfriend, boyfriend, wives, or children, right?
No, we know Shakespeare's men, obviously.
Sure.
Okay. Mainly because of the title of the plays. Okay? We know Lear, we know Macbeth,
right.
We know Hamlet, okay? But buried inside these titles, okay, are wonderful, wonderful women's characters, okay, with great speeches, great soliloquies, great dialogue. Think of Lady Macbeth, how she is such an important character in that play, and Desdemona and Amelia and Othello.
Yeah. Right. Portia, Cordelia. I mean, there's so many.
Well, these were all women.
And Julia got a top billing in one of his plays, at least. She actually made the name of the title.
She made the name. That's where I was headed. Okay, Romeo and Juliet.
And then there is Cleopatra.
Yes.
And that's one I'm really looking forward to, because I have never seen a production of Cleopatra by Shakespeare.
Oh,
Okay.
So I'm very eager to, and it's going to be one of the pieces that will be done on Wednesday.
So why isn't it important to kind of take this dive into the women that Shakespeare wrote about and created?
It's easy to follow the men, okay, and people are more familiar with that. But we often forget about the women in Shakespeare's plays. And we have done Shakespeare in the village since 2008. We've performed plays on the patio. We've done plays in the pack. And we've always tried to include plays that have good parts for women because we have lots of good women in our theater group. So we want to include the women. And, excuse me, Carol did a wonderful part. She was Amelia?
Puck.
Puck. Oh,
Puck.
Of course,
I know, but what you're
I'm
talking
thinking
about
of
is the
Othello.
from
Okay.
Othello.
Right.
I actually got to do a short bit as Desdemona.
Okay.
And it's funny because the part I wanted, I was going to do it as a monologue, was Amelia's monologue, and I found out this other delightful actress had her eyes on it. So I said, David, she's got to do this. And then they said, well, let's put it together and do the scene. So that's how that happened.
Yes.
When you explore a role, when you perform and you read a part written by Shakespeare for a strong, important woman, what do you look through in terms of how I take my notes from this, how I'm going to present this person, backstories and things like that?
Oh, it doesn't differ from any other part that one approaches as an actor. Number one, you look for the truth of it. Even if the person is lying, they know they're lying, but they're selling it. And so that's the important thing, is the truth of the character.
Yeah. Do they mean this, or are they just trying to be deceitful? Is it in their heart this way, or they have this deception, which are two different kind of presentations, right? Okay.
When you look at Lady Macbeth's speech, when she's trying to cajole her husband into murdering the king, okay, that's really pretty powerful, okay? She has a great speech where she says, "Come, unsex me here, you murdering ministers," right? And everybody goes, "Whoa, what's she doing here?" Okay, but she knew what she was doing.
Right, right. And then you have like the opposite of that is like an innocence in the role of Juliet, where Shakespeare explores this young love and the wide-eyedness of it all, and the the angst of it all.
I think I've probably done readings of Juliet, but yes, it's just, you just convince yourself this is where you are. You sell yourself. You can't sell anybody else. And be real unless you believe it yourself.
Absolutely. Well, the Shakespeare's Women, I want to make sure people know about that. An evening with Julia Lupton and Ava Burton. It's going to be coming up on October 23rd, Club House 7. Doors open at 6:30. Show starts at 7 p.m. Members are free. If you're an old pro, you get in free. And guests are $5.
Best bargain around.
Best bargain around. It's a heck of a deal.
Shakespeare for $5? Come on.
And the wine and cheese.
Yes.
Oh boy.
What do you hope the takeaways will be from that night in terms of just having a deeper understanding of these characters, or like the importance of women's roles in these plays?
I would say both. Okay, Carol, go ahead.
Yes, well, definitely the image of women through all of that time, the Renaissance, was that they were downtrodden and behind closed doors. But even when they were behind closed doors, they were still very capable of controlling certain things. And we see that in Shakespeare all the time. His women are interesting women.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, I mean, that was at a time, Shakespeare's time, where women couldn't even be on stage and be in these roles.
No.
And so it's interesting that Shakespeare would take the time to make such interesting female characters and have them be so intricate to the roles in such prominent roles, right?
And all those fine young boys whose voices hadn't changed
Right.
were playing the characters.
I can't play that part anymore.
Yeah, right. When you hit 15, your female stage impersonation days are over. And when you book an event like this, what do you tell your members in terms of, hey, come on out here and enjoy this because? How do you sell this to the folks?
I would say because we've done the men, okay? We did King Lear, we did Macbeth, okay? And now we want to take our club a little bit further and a little bit deeper into the great writings of Shakespeare. And the women, they're there for sure.
Okay. All right, I'm going to put you guys on the spot. Favorite female character from any of Shakespeare's plays, comedies, tragedies, whatever it might be. You have a top one?
Puck.
Okay.
I get David. Well, how did we do? I just knew I wanted to do Puck, and you let me do it.
Yeah, that was when we our very first Shakespeare in 2008. We did Puck as a character who starts the play and ends the play. If we shadows have offended,
think but this and all is mended.
And she wanted that role so badly. Okay.
It's still burned into your mind.
And I was directing that, and I said, Carol, if you want that part, it's yours. Okay.
You have yourself a favorite?
I do have a favorite, and it's one that maybe people don't recognize, but I love the part of Ophelia. She has the most wonderful speech where she either commits suicide or is drawn to the water, where she's lying on her back, floating down the stream, giving this absolutely beautiful, beautiful speech, okay? Among others. It's hard to pick a favorite.
But for a guy, I know you've done Malvolio, and
I
you
did
had so much
Malvolio.
fun doing
Right.
that one.
Well, before we go, I do want to mention that you guys lost a dear member of the Old Pros
yes.
recently, and I want to just talk about that for a second and show a clip.
Our darling Tony Barr. I had the honor of one of my first shows when I came here was working with Tony, and we did Sonny and Cher. It was an incredible experience. We were in costume, we came out on stage, and before we opened our mouths, we got applause, like rock stars. And I said, this is what it's like. You just show up and they love you. It was a wonderful experience. And Tony was just the sweetest guy, and he's done such wonderful pieces. He did the classic Music Man, Trouble in River City, which was phenomenal. What we have from his last appearance with us was some of his Jolson, which was his signature.
Let's take a quick look at that clip.
Look you, because they were lonely. I'm lonely too. Sorry, boy.
That was a great video. Great to see that. And I want to say one more time, the Old Pros presents Shakespeare's Women. It's the evening with Julia Lupton, Ava Burton. It's going to be on October 23rd. Clubhouse 7. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. Show starts at 7. Members are free. Guests are $5. Thank you so much, David and Carol, for joining us today.
Thank you.
You're watching This Day. We'll be right back.
All right, folks, Newport Beach Film Festival is coming up soon. Here to talk about a must-see film about a mysterious older woman who seeks revenge on the corrupt legal guardian who destroyed her life. We welcome the writer, the producer, and director, Carl Hearn. Carl, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I'm so glad you're here with us to talk about this suspenseful film. I watched the trailer. I was on the edge of my seat for The G. So your film, is it based on real world events?
Yeah, so it's really inspired by two things. It's a character study about this very unusual, very intense older woman played amazingly by Dale Dickey. And that character is based on my own Irish granny. So really based on, you know, her life and her character. And she was a famously tough cookie. And, you know, so that's one side of the film. And then you take that character and you put them down in this crazy situation, which unfortunately is based on, real life as well, which is this whole legalized industry that exploits older people, specifically with guardianship scams.
Sure.
And
Yeah,
so
they're
this is
very
something,
prevalent.
yeah, it's actually there. It's some of it almost sounds so far-fetched that you wouldn't believe it if you put in a film. But these guardians can come in and usually with a doctor's and a judge's permission, take over the life of an older person, and they get to decide what drugs are administered. They control all of the person's assets, and they even get to decide what family members are allowed or not allowed to see them. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes this really turns into an absolute nightmare. And you can imagine how easy it is for bad actors to exploit these situations. So the film is based really and inspired really by these two things.
I can't even imagine being in that vulnerable position. Is it mostly because they don't have family members that are helping them?
Yeah. So most often, and I should say, I mean, unfortunately, there's a very wide range of scams targeting the elderly. Certainly when it comes to these guardianship scams, legal, quasi-legal, or just straight illegal, they do tend to target people who are more vulnerable. So people who don't have family or whose family don't live in the same state. Often these people are on medications. They may have memory issues. They may have serious health issues. And the more issues that these elderly people are dealing with, the easier it is for these scammers to take advantage of them. So it's a pretty dark scenario. And in this film, I suppose you could say this film has been called a revenge against old age itself, but it's also a straight revenge film. And the cathartic aspect of it is you see this very tough, badass older woman start to take control, and her true character comes out as she tries to get revenge on the people who are doing this kind of disgusting scam.
So I mean, I love that you brought to life an elderly anti-hero, in a feminine character. Has that ever been done in a film before?
Yeah, as far as we're aware, never. I mean, it's a pretty groundbreaking role. I mean, I know the Guardian, called it a game changer. Variety and Screen have said similar things, just because you have seen older men, Clint
Right.
Eastwood, or people like this in revenge films or in thrillers or what have you, but not women. And so, yeah, it really is something different, and it's extra compelling because of Dale Dickey's amazing performance in the lead role.
And do you think that this is going to inspire other filmmakers to follow suit and really portray older women in a stronger, more powerful character?
That's hard to answer. It's an open question. I mean, I should mention the film is violent, but it does deal with a variety of age-related issues. There's even a certain amount of sexuality on screen between the older characters.
Okay.
So, these are all some of the reasons that the film has been called, groundbreaking by critics, which has been nice. I mean, it's gotten great reviews. Is it going to change things or open up more opportunities? That's an open question. I hope so. I know Dale, our lead actress, I know she hopes so, so there's definitely fewer opportunities for older women in Hollywood. And,
This is perfect.
by some measures, an older woman in Hollywood is anyone over the age of 26. You know what I mean? So
we got to change that theory.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, we'll see, but certainly that's something that, I think we're proud of, and with this film, and I do think the film is it's something different. Absolutely.
Definitely sounds like something different. And also the characters in the film depict older people as being irrelevant in society. But again, your strong-willed character, she's there.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the film definitely fights back against this idea of, you know, I mean, I think there's a tendency in our society just in general for older people to be marginalized. It's not just, the scams and the exploitation that unfortunately can happen, but there's also, in the film itself, I mean, her own loving granddaughter is sort of questions, is she still able to drive? Is she still, totally clued in to certain things? Sometimes a patronizing aspect can creep in when younger people talk to an older person. And the film is sort of touching lightly on all of these things.
The film also highlights a very serious subject matter. It also has an impactful social message.
Yeah, I mean, well, especially when it comes to these scams, this is something, I mean, we've been interviewed all over the place, and this is not a documentary, obviously this is a work of fiction. It's a genre film to a certain extent. But we were interviewed, for example, by the London Times alongside a nonprofit organization called SEER, which is a US-based organization that helps seniors fight back against guardianship scams. Because they're so widespread, there are now organizations that have sprung up just to help people fight back against this. So you see what a problem it's become. So
I love that. That's wonderful news.
Yeah, and they thanked us, even though this, again, just to be clear, we're not documentary filmmakers, but they still thanked us for making a film that is bringing awareness to these issues.
Absolutely.
Just by getting out there and finding an audience,
Absolutely. Wow. Well, I can't wait to see this film, Carl. I'm so looking forward to it. So it's showing Saturday, October 19th at 5 p.m. I think it's at Edwards 5. Don't quote me on that.
It's big Newport, they call it.
Newport, yeah. So
yeah,
Edwards.
number 5. And I should say also, I'll be there doing a Q&A with
Wonderful.
Dale Dickey, the lead actress, who's terrific. I mean, she's one of those actresses that you definitely know, even if you can't place her name, because she's been in everything from Marvel films to Winter's Bone, which she won an Independent Spirit Award for Best Supporting Actress. So she's sort of a national treasure, and she's really great in this,
Wonderful, wonderful. And I'm sorry, did you say that she's going to be there as well?
She is, yeah. She's going to be there with me for the Q&A after the screening.
Oh, fabulous. Oh, well, I wish you the best of luck. And all right, folks, you need to get out there and see this movie, and you need to protect yourselves. Carl will hold your hand in doing so. Carl, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate your time, and I can't wait to see the results of this fabulous film. Take care.
Right, thank you very much.
Thanks.
And welcome back. We got a great Saturday movie for everybody today. It is The Holdovers. It's with Paul Giamatti. It's brought to us by RadNet. That's going to do it for this edition of This Day. Monday on the program, Pacific Financial Planner is going to be with us, as well as the folks from the Republican Club, so stay tuned for that one. I'm Michael Taylor. For all of us here at This Day, we hope you make this day a great one.